Hello everyone, I'm back with another video. Like always, I'm here to teach you guys how to become successful traders yourself. I'm combining the technical analysis with a subject with some educational skill. Today we're going to talk about trend lines, how to master trend lines. It's a great tool in trading. Um, let's get into it. I use it a lot, but there are also some common mistakes made in using them. Make sure you watch the video from beginning to end. Don't jump into your own trading after a few minutes because you think you know how to use trend lines. Make sure you watch the whole video. Something else, most of you know from Instagram, I think, trading, a guide to consistency. Um, my new book, I just wrote an ebook. It's like almost I think 180 pages. It's three parts. First one is about trading in general. No matter if you trade, you can trade forex, you can trade crypto, you can trade stocks, you can trade indices, whatever you're trading. Trading is trading. Every market has their own characteristics, but that's what I explain in the first part. The second part is all about technical analysis. So if you're a swing trading strategy or a trend trading strategy or day trading or whatever, all those kinds of strategies and the technical analysis and the time frames that are used for those strategies will be discussed in the second part. So all about technical analysis and trading strategies. And after that, if you think you master a strategy or if you found a strategy that fits your way of trading or your style or your personality. Finally, last but not least, part 3 is about risk management, because if you, you know, you can be a master in technical analysis, but if you are wrong 30% or 40% of the time, and those moments will draw down your account, or if your risk management is off in those cases, then you should do something about that, of course. So. Um, what is in this video, like I said, how to use trend lines is a huge part. The second part, trend line breaks. Um, that could be an opportunity for you to get in. Sometimes a bounce is, of course, an opportunity to get in, but let's go through that in a moment. Trend line channels. I'll show you how price can be moving within a certain range or certain channel, up or down, depending on the market. Why a break of a trend line, just a break of a trend line, is not enough. Most common mistake, and then in general, most common mistakes when people trade trend lines. So let's go to the charts and let's show you guys what I mean. So here's the US dollar against the Norwegian krone. Not your average chart probably, but doesn't matter. As you can see, price is moving. It's great to if you use technical analysis. This is a great chart for that. This is the weekly chart. As you can see, price has been moving within certain ranges or interesting levels to be trading. Just to show you, this could have been an interesting area to be trading for a while. When resistances are met or supports are met, price bounces off and moves off in a direction. So this is more like a support resistance or more horizontal line area. But just this was back in March and a year ago. So the last year and a half, this has been a trending market. So when we put in a trend line on the weekly chart, it's quite obvious that this has been quite a move. Same thing goes if we draw it like this. It's just copying, so this is what I mean. If you draw a proper trend line, make sure you get a couple of touches in. So when you start off here, make sure you got 1, 2 touches here another one. Of course, this could have been a more narrow range, but always try to, often you're looking for opportunity and you start to draw lines that fit your need to trade, but always keep in mind the market really uses the space it has. So within a range like this, always think about that. So if this is the support trend line, this is obviously going up. I just copied this trend line and put it over here. So this makes a channel, because price in fact does move within very clear area. So often I remember when I learned technical analysis, I was like, how is it possible that a market, a random financial instrument, is moving this clear within all those lines? So when I was watching the news and I was hearing things about oil is going up or oil is going down, I started to do technical analysis, and I was like, guys, gold is going up, oil is going down. Of course it is, because it reached a certain level, within a trend line channel, or a proper support or whatever. So technical analysis really opened my eyes back then. But this is just to point out that this was a upward moving channel. Right now, price stopped moving upward in December, so that was the end of last year, and it started moving within this range. And just now it broke out to the upside once again. So let's see if we can zoom into the daily chart, and I can show you more about using trend lines. Well, we know now that the bigger picture was that price has been consolidating for some while. Well, often at tops, price does consolidate, so that's what happens over here. So this push right out is of course a little bit news driven, with all the trade war fears and the Fed actually cutting rates again. So a lot is going on in the market fundamentally. So keep that in mind. I don't trade the fundamentals, but I watch the charts. The thing I'm looking for right now is of course a pullback, for example, and let's see if this level holds or that it will fall back into this channel. So it broke out of the upward channel a little bit, and now it moved back into this channel. But I think I'm not looking to go long around this area. I'm looking to see what happens from here on out. So if we zoom in, for example, to a way lower, oh, I don't have that low of an interval, maybe 1 hour. Yes, I do. Okay, well, again here we can see that there are certain trend lines to be put in. Let's see if we can zoom it in a little bit. Again here, well, as you can see, we have some interesting touches. So this could be a proper trend line. When we extend it way up to here, then we see that price is been hovering above this zone, and is now pulling back to this trend line again. A lot of times, if you don't use the trend line, or it's hard to get a feeling of where price is. So if this trend line does break, that could be my first clue that this in fact will turn around and move back into the channel and beyond. So from here on out, it's very near a trend line, so very near support. So this is not something for me to be looking for longs. First I want to get a first clue on this to actually break a trend line or something like that. If it doesn't, then to me this is still something bullish. So trend lines really help to identify if price is still moving in a certain direction, or still where price is at. Let me show you another part of this chart. That's the following. Zoom back in a little bit. So let's say we pick this area over here. It was trending pretty strong. Of course, it came from an important area when we were at the weekly chart. So these two bounces really could have gotten your attention for looking for long positions. Well, finally, if you got in, you had a nice run over here. Well, two things. We came to the top of this channel, which with all these wicks over here, that could have been an interesting clue that price was starting to turn around. But still, price came back, touched this trend line, and moved up one more time before eventually falling down and breaking it and moving back to the lower side of this channel. So just just a break of this channel often is not enough. Why is that? Now, as you can see, this level over here acted as support one time, but that was in combination with the trend line. Then it broke. This one started falling right away, but it came back, and now it wasn't support, but it was resistance again. So if you want to pinpoint your entries, if you really want to make sure that you're on the right track of entering the market, another thing I often use is if a trend line and a in this case support turning resistance again. So if that breaks, if we move to the 4-hour chart, I think you get a more clear picture of what I mean. Where were we? We were in this part of the chart. Wait a minute. I'll go down to a lower time frame to find it. Here. So what we see over here is the price was moving up, up, up. You know, touched this trend line a couple of times, and then when it reversed, we gotta move down. So what we see over here is also a shoulder, a head, a shoulder. That's a clue. We were at the top side of this channel. That's a clue. So the trend line on the upper side and the lower side helps us. This inner trend line was still intact. So if you wanted to make sure that this break was valid, it was also the neckline of this head and shoulder pattern. So we got a break of the trend line. We got a head and shoulders. We got a bounce off the upper channel. We got a break of the trend line, and afterwards a break of support. Also the neckline. So there are a lot of clues that this was the ideal entry to make sure you were probably 80% right on this entry. Now I know I hear you thinking, but this is halfway through this whole move. How is this the best entry? I understand that, but people really go broke on picking out tops, picking out bottoms, all those things. So coming to the biggest mistakes people use, this one came back and people were like, it's going, it's gonna, it's going lower again. Probably the first trend line that got in here was this one, so you thought already this was a break, but there was never really a break of a certain support level over here. So always combine the trend lines with the support levels, or head and shoulder patterns. Just trading trend lines is one of the biggest mistakes. People draw a trend line, they're great, but a great problem also with trend lines is when it breaks, another trend line forms. So I can draw a trend line from here to here. I can draw a trend line from here that will touch this area and probably the tops of these. So I was still like, yeah, this has to go down. But as you can see, you didn't want to trade this one to the downside and then ride it all the way up here. You would have been stopped out, or you had to have a huge bad position in it. So to sum it up, make sure you draw proper trend lines, but always keep in mind that a trend line is just a trend line at that moment. So if it breaks, look for more clues. It's always, I use trend lines for the first indication that something could happen. Where's support at the moment? Where is there another thing like a touch of the upside of the channel, or a head and shoulder pattern, or whatever? When you use trend lines, don't just use or trade trend lines. That's never a strategy. Always look for more information before entering. So let me point out something else on another chart. It's interesting to see how maybe a little bit crazy trend lines can be. Maybe on this one. Yeah, well, this obviously has. Let me get everything off this chart here. So again, trend lines. How to use trend lines. This is the 4-hour chart. If I would have this chart on my screen, I would say this is a very strong trend line that is supporting this move up. If it breaks, well, this one just came down right away, I think I would have missed this trade because there was never a moment of um, checking or re-entry for this. If it came back, then it would have been a different story. So wait a minute, let me put this one on right. Um, so we had an up move, we had a break, so the trend would have, that's an indication that the trend is probably over. So we got this break, but this just goes down right away. So it's very hard to find an entry in here. But then after a couple of days, a couple of weeks maybe, this starts moving back up again. Price starts to stall over here. If you zoom into the hourly chart, you probably found the support level over here. Let me check that for you. So it broke eventually, so there could have been a signal. The trend line broke as well. It came back up, tested the trend line from down up, also retested the support that now became resistance. So this could have been a nice move. Then again, trends just don't change like that. If you want some more perspective, you also could have drawn this one from the upside. Like this thing is starting to turn down, and eventually we got a move, then another again. This is a high, this is a lower high, this is a lower high as well, confirmed by this trend line. By the time this all happened, of course, on a bigger time frame, we would have seen a certain support level that acted 1, 2, and once this broke, we really got this sell-off. So finding the entries, here it was the same. Bounce off this support level. Wait a minute. I think this would have been a trend line like this. Trend line broke. We started to move to the side, and then eventually I think this would have been some kind of support level that got broken, retest, and then the sell-off occurred. This could have been an area to take profits, but this really kept going. So you have trend lines on the bigger time frames, then you have the pullbacks. So mark the pullbacks using trend lines. And again, talking about those mistakes I pointed out earlier in the video, do not jump in a trade with just a break of a trend line. That's not the way to go here. So this started moving here. Here we got a bigger correction. Don't know if you could have expected this move or anything like it. I think even if you connect that one, this could have been a like, this is really pulling back. Of course, an obvious support resistance area would have been this area. And yes, it acted as support, it acted as resistance a little bit, and here it did again. So combined with the resistance area, combined with the trend line, and then finally we got a break and a retest here. This would be the conclusion to me, like this could be an entry for me. That would have looked like this in risk-reward perspective. This could have been an entry. I would have placed my stop over here, because if this did break, then we started to really make new highs and new lows. This would be my first target at the lower side, where we found support earlier. But of course, it was possible to, depending on if you're a trend trader or a swing trader, no need to say that eventually this could have been a 1 to 7, almost 1 to 8 risk reward, and we could have still been in this trade. But again, let's get this off for now. It's about trend lines, so we had a pullback, so let's draw a trend line on a pullback, and then we went off again. Then price started to stall here again, making a little high. So that means we are again in some kind of a pullback. As you can see over here, a sideways movement for some while. Trend line got broken, got retested, and we saw another sell-off to the downside. So there, trend lines, they can be drawn in all kind of ways to give you some feeling, but I can't emphasize it enough. This was a very sharp decline, and eventually we got this, you know, on a bigger time frame, we got this pin bar, but we got rejection with a big strong green candle, and the price started to move back up again. As you can see over here, we're kind of in the same scenario here, where price has moved back into previous support and is now resistance. So if you would have drawn a trend line from here on out, you probably do it like this, because this was the first pullback into this into the opposite direction when it bounced off this resistance. Then we came in back into resistance again, and we had a sell-off, and we now have broken this trend line. This is a great example because it has broken this trend line, but support is still in here, and that's this part. So as long as this level is in, we can still move back up again. We can still do something like that. So if you're looking for an entry, at the moment this would be an entry to go short with your stop just outside. This is not an entry. If it breaks this support, it will go for a sell-off, and stops can be placed just above this support resistance area, maybe above this candle that is proving to retest this trend line, and then we'll go off again. So I hope you guys get a little bit of a picture, like that trend lines can be drawn to the upside, to the downside. You can draw those channels. You can do a lot of things using the trend lines, but always make sure that there is more information available before you enter a trade. So just a break of a trend line is never enough. Doesn't matter what time frame you're trading. Make sure that the second thing you do after a trend line break is get in for a where's support or where's the resistance. So if the price is moving up, the trend line breaks, the first thing it will encounter is support. So as long as that is in place, price will first move to the side or something, as long as that support is in there. If that support area breaks, we really get a sell-off. You see it over here as well. This was support for a long time, price was moving sideways, then it finally broke, and support became resistance, and it got rejected, and then we had another sell-off. So all the time it's yeah, I could just point it out over here again. This became support, now it became resistance. So really use support and resistance along trend lines for you guys to find the better entries. So that's it for today. Thank you guys for watching. If you like the content, and if you think like you really learned something about using trend lines, I'll do more videos on support and resistance, or Fibonacci's, or some indicators because people keep asking me questions about indicators. I'll explain why I think indicators are something to use or not. Please hit subscribe. If you want my book, please leave a comment or anything. The book is free for everybody who is willing to join me at one of my preferred brokers that's below in this video. Happy to give you the book for free and give you a flying start off to a great trading career with a free book to really help you going. So see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye bye.